EMP at the box while it's frozen. Well, I predicted that it would likely just close the box like normal. And I was right. This means that you need to be careful. On any green run map, if you try to freeze the box, make sure that nobody else in the game already has EMPs. Otherwise, your freeze isn't going to work. Can you do it on the Pack-a-Punch? I tested this one a few times, and I wasn't able to find any way to freeze it like the box. Unfortunately, I don't think this one is possible. In maps with fire sales, could you in theory pause it everywhere? Yes, you can. Not just in theory, but in practice. Here in this footage, the box is frozen everywhere possible unburied. It's also frozen in the maze. Trust me. I can also make them all disappear. Now note here that the actual box is supposed to be here behind Mule Kick, and you can tell that the box is supposed to be here because of the double teddy bear. The second teddy bear is actually because of the better box odds permaperk. This brings me to the next myth. What if somebody tries getting Leroy to bring the box to a certain location when there's no boxes on the map? Well, I tried that too, and I'll let you see for yourself. Yep, Leroy is actually able to just conjure up a new box from the location where it was supposed to be, meaning it is possible for him to return the box to normal if it disappears. That being said, I also wanted to see what would happen if I got him to move the box while the box wasn't gone, but instead frozen with a weapon inside. And the result is that he just isn't able to do anything. He doesn't even acknowledge that the box can be moved, and instead the candy just makes him rage as if he wasn't near an empty box location in the first place. Now, the last thing I want to reiterate, which I did say in my previous video, is that it is not possible to use this glitch to duplicate any wonder weapons or any weapons that can only be held by one player. In this footage, I freeze the paralyzer into the box during a fire sale, and then I go to hit the other box where the location actually is. And it doesn't matter how many times I hit the box, I am never going to get the paralyzer as long as it's stuck in the other box. That being said, this also can create some interesting use cases. On the map Moon, you could hack a different box location, get something like the ballistic knives out of the box, which are a weapon that can only be held by one player, and then if those are stuck in a different box, you can never get those out of the main box while you're trading, so it actually saves you some time in a really long game. It's a very minor use case, but it is something. Anyway, these are just some of the myths that you commented and I tested. If you liked this video, feel free to leave a like, and subscribe for more zombies myth busting to come. Also, if you have any myths you would like me to bust, leave them down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. So the other day I was streaming and I loaded up into a game of Moon with Mega Gobblegums, just trying to get set up for a high round run. My normal plan is to spam raindrops and immolations until I get all the weapons I need out of fire sales, meaning Gershes, the wave gun, and a couple of strong bullet weapons. I had no problem getting Gershes and my other bullet weapons, but for some reason I could not for the life of me get the wave gun. After a whopping 166 box hits, I still didn't have the wave gun. That was incredibly unlucky. Are you kidding me? What? 30 rounds! No wave gun! But how unlucky was it, actually? Well, I already made a video explaining how box odds work. Every single weapon in the box has an equal chance of appearing, meaning it is easy to calculate the odds. There are 34 weapons in the box on Black Ops 3 Moon, but also I can't get any of the weapons I already have. Since for most of this run I was always holding 3 weapons, plus I had the Annihilator and the Gershes, it means that there were 29 weapons remaining in the box, meaning the wave gun would have a 1 in 29 chance of appearing, or about 3.4%. That means the odds of not getting the wave gun is 28 in 29. Therefore, to calculate the odds that I would miss the wave gun 166 times in a row, all you need to do is take the odds of failure and multiply it by itself for each time I miss. So 28 over 29 raised to the 166th power, which gives me this number, or about a 0.3% chance of being this unlucky. Granted, that number isn't 100% accurate. Obviously, at the beginning of the game, I was hitting the box with less than 3 weapons and without the Annihilator and Gershes, so the odds were lower there. Also, every time I got the ray gun or the ray gun Mark II, I couldn't get the opposite, so the odds were higher there. But let's say that it averages out to about 0.3%. That sounds incredibly unlucky, and it is, but not nearly as unlucky as you might think. Statistically speaking, if 1,000 people loaded up Moon right now, 3 of them would get luck just as bad as mine. If you think about all the millions of people that have played Black Ops 3 Moon since Zombies Chronicles released almost 8 years ago, God, I'm getting old. This sort of thing has likely happened to countless people, and probably even to me in the past, given how many times I've played this map. This is why so many people hate the Moon Easter egg, since doing it solo requires you to swap your equipment multiple times throughout the run, meaning it's very difficult to get the equipment over and over again because of the probabilities. This is a hot take, but I think that the Moon Easter egg should not have been possible on solo. It wasn't possible solo on Black Ops 1, and they easily could have kept it that way for Black Ops 3. There was no need to change it. And it really annoys me because so many people think that the Moon Easter egg was poorly designed. Except it wasn't poorly designed. It was designed for 2 or more players, meaning one would have the QEDs and one would have the Gershes. And the fact that they made it possible on solo just seems like a really bad move. Now I know what some of you are going to rush to the comments and say. The wave gun is less likely than the other weapons. The wave gun has worse odds. The probability is weighted. I don't believe that's true, even on Black Ops 3. I was fairly confident that the wave gun had equal odds to every other weapon in the box. But what is the rarest weapon in Zombies? I decided to do some digging in the code to see if Black Ops 3 actually had any weighted probabilities. I did see references to something called custom random weapon weights, but upon inspecting further into the lists of weapons and everywhere in the code, I couldn't find anywhere that seemed to actually change those weapon weights, except for one thing. On Zetsubo, after you build the KT-4, if you trade out the KT-4, the probability of getting it back shoots way up. There's a specific flag for if the player loses the wonder weapon that artificially boosts the odds of getting it back out of the box. Obviously, it's not a guarantee, but after going into the game and hitting the box a couple hundred times, it did feel like I was getting the KT-4 more often than any other weapon. Other than that, I wasn't able to find specific examples of boosted odds on Black Ops 3. And on the internet, I've seen other developers confirm that there aren't any boosted odds in the box. So it's safe to say that Black Ops 3's box works just like all the previous games. And if you want a breakdown of that, go check out my other video where I break down that every weapon in the box is equally likely. Of course, there's one notable exception, which might be considered the rarest weapon, and that is on Black Ops 2. On Black Ops 2, the least likely weapon to appear is the Ray Gun Mark II, which is equal to exactly 1/3 of the probability of all the other weapons, except for on Buried, where it's the same as normal. To calculate the worst odds possible, we need to find the map with the most wonder weapons in the box on Black Ops 2 besides Buried, and that map is Nuketown. Nuketown has 26 weapons in the box, so each weapon has a 1 in 26 chance of appearing, except for the Mark II, which would have 1/3 of that, or a 1 in 78. That's about 1.2%. So assuming that we don't hold any weapons, which would of course increase the odds, this is the rarest weapon we have seen so far. But we can do better. If we go to Black Ops 4, that's a different story. On Black Ops 4, there is weighted probabilities. Rather than choosing one weapon at random from the list of all weapons, each weapon is separated into one of 8 classes of weapons, and each class has its own weighted probability. Once a class is chosen, it will then choose one weapon from that class randomly. Wonder weapons are all in class 0, which has an 8% chance of being chosen out of any of the 8 classes. So there's always an 8% chance of getting any wonder weapon. That being said, if you want a specific wonder weapon, then the probability is 8 divided by the number of wonder weapons on the map. So Voyage of Despair only has 2 wonder weapons, the Homunculus and the Kraken. Therefore, each one has a 4% chance of showing up on any box hit. If you already have the Homunculus, or if you already have the Kraken, then it actually boosts the opposite one to 8%. So wonder weapons on some of these maps are very easy to get. Compare that to Tagged or Toten, on the other hand, which has 7 wonder weapons. The Ray Gun Mark II, the Matryoshka dolls, the monkeys, the Thunder Gun, the Tundra Gun, and the Wonder Wop. And also, for some reason, the Tommy gun is considered a wonder weapon and is also in class 0. So each of those weapons has an equal chance of showing up, meaning 1 in 8. But since there's an 8% chance of that class showing up, that means all of those weapons have a 1% chance of showing up. So that's actually a lot worse than some of the other maps. This is actually so much worse than if every weapon were equal. On Tagter Toten, there are 50 weapons in the box, so if they were all equal, they would all have a 2% chance of showing up. And I feel like that's plenty rare for any of the wonder weapons and any of the other weapons, but because of the weighted probabilities, all the wonder weapons have a 1% chance of showing up. I don't like the weighted probabilities for that reason specifically. I don't think that the wonder weapon needs to be the rarest weapon in the box. I think that having them all be equally likely is part of the fun and part of what makes the mystery box so unique, in that you can get the best weapon in the map on your first hit, or you can get crap over and over again. Now, of course, Black Ops 4 has one way to guarantee a weapon with the quest on 9, at least when it's working properly. This clip happened to my friend Jake recently, and I just wanted to show it to you guys because I thought it's hilarious. So check this out. Yeah, that's supposed to give you the death of Orion every single time, but I guess it didn't. Which means it would default back to the 4% chance of showing up on any box set, because 8% of getting the Wonder Weapon class, and then you can get Homunculus or Death of Orion. But what about Cold War? And also Black Ops 6. Cold War and Black Ops 6 made significant changes to how the mystery box works, specifically with the new rarity system. Wonder weapons are considered the highest rarity and are also the least probable to come out of the box at any given time. But also, the longer you play your game and the higher round you're on, the higher the probability that the wonder weapon will come out. I'm gonna tell you the truth, I have no idea how it works, and I couldn't really seem to find any sources of anyone who does know how this weighted probability works. All I know is that I don't like it, and here's why. Firstly, Cold War is the first game in the series where it's possible to get a weapon out of the box that you're already holding. Why would I want a weapon that I already have? Now I know, the idea is that you can get a weapon you're already holding out of the box with a higher rarity or with different attachments. I think that's pretty useless though. I feel like it wouldn't make sense for me to spend hundreds and hundreds of points on the box just to get a weapon I already have, when I can use salvage to upgrade my weapon the same way. More importantly, I think that there are just way too many weapons in the box on Cold War. On D Machine, there are 48 weapons in the box, including 7 melee weapons, which all work exactly the same as all the rest. I don't know why there needs to be 7 of them when there can just be 1. There are also 11 score streaks in the box, for a total of 59 separate outcomes for the mystery box. Even if each one were equally distributed, there'd be a 1 in 59 chance of getting any weapon, which is way worse than it is on Black Ops 1 or 2 or 3. Except that's not exactly how it works. Wonder weapons are weighted and are by far the least likely, which makes it stupidly annoying to get the one weapon that you want, which is usually the ray gun. This was made even worse than it was on launch, because for some reason they decided to add every single DLC weapon to the box on every map. So good luck trying to get the one weapon you're looking for. I don't really have a problem with them adding new weapons to new maps, but I feel like new weapons shouldn't be added to older maps, because all it does is decrease the odds of every other weapon. And unless you're looking for that weapon specifically, which you could just spawn in with, it just makes it harder to get the one weapon you want out of the box. Black Ops 6 made this even worse, because this time the ray gun isn't even useful. Why would I want to hit the box at all if every single weapon is completely worthless? I could just spawn in with the weapon I want and upgrade its rarity and build the wonder weapon. So there's pretty much no reason to hit the box. I really think it has ruined the charm of using the mystery box, and I think that it's ruined the fun of being able to get really good weapons or really bad weapons and having that be equally likely. I could make a whole rant on this, but I think that's a video for another time. Anyway, to conclude the question that this video was meant to answer, the rarest weapons in the box are basically all of Cold War's wonder weapons, followed by Tagter Toten's wonder weapons, followed by the Ray Gun Mark II, and then all the rest of the weapons have basically equal odds, with a couple exceptions. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If If you'd like to see more of this style of content, or if you want to see me rage while I can't get the wave gun out of the box while I'm on stream, feel free to subscribe. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
We are pack-a-punching every single pistol or handgun in Call of Duty Treyarch Zombies history. We are on, you guessed it, it's Doris. It's the map in this game with a PAP machine. The rest of you don't. You have no idea how badly I want to interrupt right now. Just kidding. The only rule for this challenge is no repeats. It has to be exclusive to the game, have its own intrinsic identity. And that gets a little bit vague because, as you know, with pistols and handguns, dual wields exist. But we're going to cross that bridge when we get there. For now, in World of War, we have this starting pistol, the classic. It's good for now. It's good for round 14. Here we are, folks. Honest.
So the other day I was streaming and I loaded up into a game of Moon with Here are some of the most interesting secret weapons in Call of Duty Zombies. All the weapons I'm going to showcase in this video are unobtainable in a normal game, but can be found in the game files by using console commands. Starting with World at War, the first weapon I'll talk about is the Walther P38, which is a pistol normally only found in multiplayer and campaign, but using console commands can be obtained in Zombies. There's nothing particularly special about this weapon, but it's interesting to know that it could have existed in Zombies. The next weapon to mention is called the Dirty Harry. The Dirty Harry looks like the M1911, but you'll notice it has slow animations, and it functions very much like the upgraded 1911 in that it shoots explosive bullets. The next weapon I'll feature is this weapon, which is just called Brains. And this is actually the weapon that all of the zombies have equipped in World at War. That's what they're hitting you with. The last weapon from World at War that I'll feature is the default weapon. For those of you that don't know what this is, here you go. This is the default weapon. It basically functions as a secret base for all of the weapons in the game. It does incredibly low damage. Even in this footage, it looks like it's killing the zombies quickly, but the zombies' health is much lower than it should be on round 50. The default weapon appears on every Call of Duty game, including here on Black Ops 1.